Amar sir, I believe most of the students are here. Let us begin the presentation.
Okay, ma'am.
Sure.
So, ma'am, can I share my screen?
Yes, Amar sir, you will be able to.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everyone present here. Uh, okay, so first of all, I would like to welcome all the students who have decided to be part of storytelling. This is one of the segments of the this Euro Literature Fest that we are going to celebrate in the month of November. So again, you're welcome to this. So today I'll just be briefing you on like the nature of storytelling. So this year we are going online. So some modules will be changed. Okay, this will be a little bit different from the way we conducted literature fest, or let's say storytelling last year. So today I'll be just talking about some of the rules, and then some of the techniques to be doing storytelling offline. So in next session, we will be dealing with the ways, techniques of writing a short story. Today, this orientation will focus on how to do storytelling. Just give me a moment. Okay, so first storytelling, let me tell you a little bit about storytelling. So why have we been organizing storytelling for you for the past 3 years? The first one is it's an art of telling stories orally, or a story can also be presented in a written form. But you are doing storytelling orally. Second, storytelling is all about telling a story through voice and gestures. So we have been listening to our, like grandparents telling us stories, right? We used to be spellbound by their voice and sometimes, gestures or the body positions, voice modulations. So this is still, interesting to listen to stories. And then, so why to do storytelling? Why to tell a story? Telling a story means, you know, uh, telling something, explaining something in sequential manner. Okay, if you tell a story, if you narrate an incident,
It's okay. That's it.
then you tell events or incidents in a proper order, so that it's interesting to listen to. Next reason why we need to do storytelling is we are all storytellers. Probably you may be wondering why everybody is a storyteller. Every day, okay, every day we narrate incidents. Probably our story may be quite short. Okay, it may not be in a formal setting, or it may not be that systematic, but every day. For example, one of you goes to a shop to buy something, and then you come back after, let's say, maybe you come 10 minutes later, or maybe 15 minutes later, and you have to, tell the entire episode, entire incident to your parents. So when you explain the scenario, okay, when you explain the reasons or give reasons why you are late, then you are a storyteller in that situation. So every one of us is a storyteller. Okay, so we have our own ways of telling a story. Okay, same story can be told in a different way. Some of them explain it in a better way, some of them may not. Okay, because the first point says it's an art. Okay, it's an art. You have to practice, you have to develop your skills. Okay, next, why to do storytelling? when you listen to a storyteller, okay, as an audience, when you listen to a storyteller, you start to develop some feelings. That storyteller may store some feelings in your heart. Okay, so research suggests that those who listen to stories frequently tend to be empathetic. Okay, because they come to hear about different situations. Sometimes it may be a good situation, sometimes it may be a pathetic situation. So listening to different situations, different conditions, different circumstances, a listener, an audience tend to be more empathetic than other people who hardly listen to stories. Okay, that's why it's good to listen to a story. Our next point is fluency. Okay, so it is at the heart of storytelling. You may pick the best content, but if you are not able to, tell a story, explain a sequence of things, episodes fluently, then you may not be able to do justice to that story. Story or picking of the best continent for this contest, you need to pay attention to fluency as well. So how you are going to develop your fluency? So everybody speaks English. So what you have to do is to, read the story. Okay, you can like immerse yourself in the story, find yourself inside your story, and then you can tell your story fluently, sequentially. Okay, so fluency is also very important when it comes to judging your performance. So please, it needs to be borne in mind. Okay, so this is for both writing and then telling your story. Try to choose as few characters as possible. The reason is, if you choose many characters for your story, then when you are telling your story, you need to change your voice. You may have to tell a story from the point of view of grandmother, right? And it is you who has to play the part of grandson also. There may be a communication between a grandmother and a grandchild. So at the time, you need to change your voice, right? Otherwise, if you do not change your voice, then your audience, your listeners cannot distinguish between your characters, a grandmother and then a grandchild. This is just an example. If there is a character in your story, it's okay. But there may be 2 or 3 characters. So my suggestion is that please try to have, as few characters as possible, 2, maximum 3. Next setting, where incident takes place. Or maybe your story took place on the veranda, maybe under the bridge, maybe in the kitchen, at home, everywhere. Story can take place anywhere. So that setting, it's up to you. You're a writer, you're a storyteller, so you can choose the setting, okay, based on your story. Plot. Okay, I have highlighted this because this is the most important element of a story. Plot means, later I'll show you in another slide, how a story develops, how you begin, okay, and how it becomes exciting. So that story, has to develop, unfold over a period of time. You go to a movie, you go to the theater and you watch movie. In the beginning, there will be just an introduction part. You'll know who a hero is, who a hero's mother, like, then which college that hero goes. You know the just basic things, introductory part. But as time passes, then story starts to unfold, and it starts to become, more exciting. It starts to get, more exciting. And after the interval, it's going to be the most exciting part. And then before the resolution, last part, you don't want to leave the theater if the movie is very interesting, right? If the movie is not interesting, not full of thrills, excitement, then you may leave the theater at the interval. But if not, then you want to stay inside the theater until the show is over, no matter how the temperature is inside the theater. So okay, another thing is to make your story lively. Okay, in your story there may be two characters. To make it lively, there should be some dialogues. So when I was teaching you how to write a story, I talk about these elements. So you need to integrate dialects into your story. If there are more than let's say one or two characters, and then in your story there should be a conflict. Okay, something started and then there was a conflict, right? That conflict makes your story exciting. If there's no conflict, then your story won't be worth sharing. Let me give an example. A boy went to school and then he studied. He was friendly with everyone, right? And he studied in that school for 10 years, and after 10 years the student was graduated, and then he left that school, he joined on the college, something like that. Then we don't find any excitement in the story. Okay, it will be bland, tasteless. So you should add a conflict. You need to integrate or add this element to your story so that your story becomes exciting. And last one, okay, some story may be left incomplete. It could be surprise. Sometimes it is a listeners or it's an audience part or role to conclude the story. But it's up to you. But I personally suggest to you to resolve the problem in your story. If I'm a storyteller, then I start to say this happened to my life. I was doing good, but also some people did not like my approach. My approach was taken negatively. I was angry, maybe I was frustrated, right? And then I felt like fighting with that person, right? Something like that. And then it's a problem. It's a problem of mine because I'm a character in the story, right? I have to face some difficult situations, challenges in my story. And then if somebody is listening to me from the beginning, that person waits until I resolve the problem. If I do not include problem in my story, then our audiences, our listeners may not wait till the end of the story. Okay, so to grab their attention, to grip their attention, you need to include this also. Okay, resolution, maybe some stories may teach a lesson. Okay, so basic techniques and rules of oral storytelling. This time, your story should not be more than 5 minutes long. Okay, so this time we don't want you to be in your formal attire according to your comfort, according to your story setting. You can tell your story or record your story anywhere you like, sitting on a chair, sitting on your bed, but you need to be mindful of a few things. What you wear, okay, because people will be looking at you, so you need to be careful where you record your story, that you need to keep that in mind. Next, we prefer original stories to other adapted stories. One of the purposes of this literature phase is to make you a writer, develop a writing skill. So we prefer original stories written by yourself. Okay, we want to hear you introducing as a writer, not just as a storyteller. Like today, I'm going to tell a story written by so and so. We would be more than happy if you tell, okay, dear listeners, dear audience, today I'm going to tell you, narrate a story that was written by myself, something like that. So we want you to be even a writer, not only a storyteller. So original stories will be preferred. Okay, and this will also be let's say prioritized by the judges. Try to choose a simple plot. I'll talk about plot in the next slide. So to make your presentation lively, we are not going live, okay? But your presentation can be lively. Your storytelling can be lively. So to do so, you need to change your, okay, you're supposed to change your voices and then show energy. If you yourself seem to be tired, exhausted, bored, and then how can you entertain your audience? So you need to be lively, active, okay, enthusiastic, as if you want to tell this story. If somebody drags you, to the stage, and then you may tell a story in a different way, in a boring way. So you should show curiosity while telling a story to make it lively. And then body language, of course, you are not going to freeze. Your body is not going to be stiff, firm. Let it be flexible, free, relax. Nobody is pointing a gun at you. Okay, nobody is trying to shoot you. Feel relax. You are alone in your room. Then facial expression. It depends on the situation. Okay, a boy was being attacked by other bandits in the story, and then if you smile, then that content, that story, that line, and your facial expression, do not go together. So they should go together. Facial expression. Next, eye contact. You can look at the picture. Okay, this storyteller, this man is looking at the camera. Okay, so when you record yourself telling a story, maybe occasionally you can look to and fro, but most of the time you need to look at the camera. Otherwise, your listeners they believe that you are telling your story to someone else. You are not trying to, get connected with your audience. So eye contact is very important. Or you need to be mindful of pronunciation. Different students will be watching you. There will be judges. They will also judge you, on the basis of pronunciation. So please take care of pronunciation as well. Next, record your storytelling using either a mobile or this Zoom app, or you can use any gadget. But the most important thing is try to be as loudly as possible. It doesn't mean that you need to scream. You must be audible enough, okay? Because people are listening to you and people are going to judge you for your performance, for your presentation. That's why you are, expected to be quite loud. Okay, this is an example of a plot. Okay, this is let's say a raw material. So from this raw material, a creative writer can write a novel of, let's say, 300 pages. Just you need a raw material, right? You see gaps here. Okay, this is just a plot, how it develops, starting from the left, right? Introductory part, how the story develops and ends. I want you to guess later. So you are not just going to join them using conjunctions. If you join these, let's say, outlines or parts of a story, your story is going to be too short. Within 1 minute, you'll finish your story. That's right. It is up to you. You're a writer. We can just give you hints, suggestions, some feedback, but it is you. You have to work on it. You have to put your best efforts into this. Okay, so this story, how this develops, say, you need to, embellish your story with the different elements. Elements have already been discussed. So example, okay, a boy went to a forest and discovered a beautiful pond. Then what happened? You can add something here. Okay, so the pond was very beautiful. There was no one except for him. It looked as if he was, in heaven. He didn't see any human being, any animal, right? The pond was situated in the middle of a beautiful jungle, something like that. And then when the boy was swimming, when he was about to swim in that pond, the weather was fine. It was clear, it was fine, the weather was pleasant, but it was a little bit hot. That's why that hot temperature, made him go into the pond and then swim. But when he was swimming, okay, enjoying himself in the in the pond. Suddenly the weather changed. Okay, so he wanted to get out of the pond, but no sooner had the boy, this character, reached the edge of the pond or bank of the river, this pond, then something from from that pond pulled his leg. Oh, it's a left a leg or right, I don't know. Okay, and then what happened? The boy was being dragged forcefully. Okay, the boy was being dragged forcefully, and he was shouting for help me, please, 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 is there someone? He was shouting because he was being pulled down, down bottom to the pond. Sorry, okay, yeah, I was writing in a hurry. It's a lake or pond, whatever you can write. Then what happened? The boy was trying to get rid of that. I don't know what it was. It was muddy, so he couldn't see properly. And then he was being dragged forcefully, so he could not get rid of that. That something where. And then what happened? Finally, he decided to give up his fight. He wanted to surrender himself to that something where in the pond. Probably he wanted to die. He thought he was going to die. But somehow, when he was about to submit himself to that weird thing, he just managed to see what actually it was. Okay, he managed to see what was actually pulling him down. Was it an animal? Okay, a snake? What it was? And then when he saw, then you are right. You can modify it. You can adapt it to any way you like. Anything. Okay, like open-ended. You can end the story. Okay, you can resolve this problem in your own way. There's so many options, and nothing is best. Sorry, nothing is perfect. Everything is best. Okay, there's no one and all answer. Maybe okay. So if I have to complete this story, end this story, then what happened? When he managed to see what it was actually at the bottom, right? It's a story. Although it was murky, the water was muddy. Okay, it was nothing. He just suddenly woke up from his bed. It was a nightmare. It was a dream. So you can end the story in any way you like. That's just an example. Okay, the last part, how to do offline storytelling. One, you can just tell your story with the help of your slides, PPT slides on Zoom, but you need to record. Pretend, that you are telling a story, other people are listening to you, looking at you, you pretend and record that. Second, you can, use still that Zoom, that app, but you need to change the background, the virtual background, as your story develops. I was alone and standing under a big tree. Then there could be a big tree in the virtual background. Then what happened? Then it was so hot, and then you fell asleep there at the bottom of the tree. Then send the picture accordingly. So this is one of the ways of telling story. Another, simply you fix your mobile or camera or laptop somewhere, and then stand as if you are on the stage, and then you may start your story. Okay, making gestures, not just being a robot or a statue. You do that. This time you have many options. Or you can use pictures. Okay, if your story is about animals, then you can use different pictures. Keep telling your story, and then at the same time keep changing the pictures, so that your audience, your listeners won't get confused. They will be along with you. They will be traveling along with your story. Okay, next you can use, for example, flashcards. Using flashcards, you can write 2010, and that means you are going to say something that happened in 2010. First, show the flashcard, 2010, and then say, in 2010, I was a graduate student. Okay, I was doing well in my studies, everything was okay, but one day what happened? Then show on the slide. Okay, or maybe somebody fell in love, maybe somebody had a conflict or fight, something like that, and then continue. If you use flashcards, the flashcard will help you to move ahead. If you're about to forget your plot, then using flashcards. Give the flashcards in a proper order, okay, in sequence. Okay, next you can use puppets. A horse and something, they met, you know, in the jungle, and then they started talking to each other. You can do that. Okay, next position. When you are telling a story or recording yourself telling a story, your story can be accompanied by music. So you can play the guitar and then keep telling your story. Another, if you are really into the storytelling, if you really want to, you know, leave an impression on your judges and audiences, even if you don't win the contest, you can leave an impression on them. For that, you know, you can make a fire in your courtyard and then call your parents, okay, tell them to sit around and then start to tell a story and ask someone to record you. That you can do. Or simply sitting on something, chair, something, you can do that, okay. Fine author. So I'm going to show you video also, but we have got only 2 minutes. Namrata ma'am. Excuse me, Namrata ma'am. Namrata ma'am.
Amar sir, I'll convey Namrata ma'am.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh,
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, only I just want to show them 1 or 2 videos so that they will
Sir,
get an
sure.
idea.
So what we can do is we can join again. All of us can join again in the same meeting ID for a few minutes so that sir can share the videos. Please do, sir. So what I'll do is, to make things easier, I'll end this meeting and we'll join again.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir.